he has that cup. He takes that cup. He gets a taste of the horrific things that are coming to him. And it's so horrific that he's sweating blood. And he's crying out. He's crying out to God. The bigger thing that impacts me is on the cross. It's not so much the physical beating. But in the end, he has to separate from God. God has to turn his back on him.
Amen.
Now, through his whole life, through everything that he's done, it's always been, I am my Father is me. If you see me, you see my Father. Forever going off praying, forever taking time to pray because he needs that connection. Because now he's a man. He left heaven. He left his deity. He left everything that he was, the darling of heaven, to be a man. And his only connection is through prayer. It's through the Holy Spirit. That's all he has. And in the end, on the cross, God has to turn away from him. He has to separate himself. And for me, that thought always stays in me, because in the end, what is hell but God separating? You separating yourself from God. That's what hell is. And that's what Jesus went through. Yes, the pain, the beatings were brutal. The physical torture was brutal. But to me, just a little bit more. Abba, why have you forsaken me? My God, don't leave me, Daddy. That's all that I can hear in my head is, don't leave me, Daddy. But he had to, because, and this I can never ever, I will never ever fathom, is the sins of the world crashing down on him. The world, the past, the present, the future. Up to us, our kids' kids. All on him at that moment when God turned his back. And when Jesus hit the lowest of low, that makes Easter so much more for me. Because then the power of God shows, and he exalts his son who is at the lowest of low. He exalts him up to the right hand.
Amen.
And the power of God is shown.
Praise God.
Because he is the only God who came back to life. You go to other religions. There is no other God that was buried and came back to life by the power of God.
Amen.
So to me, Good Friday, yes. It was a bad time for him. It was a good time for me. Because he thought about me. We need to think about him. That's the gift that he gave us. That's why we are believers. Some of us are still trying to grab hold of it. Some of us are still trying to grasp the concept of what Jesus did. And that's good. But let me tell you, heaven or hell, there is no in between. Jesus did a good work. He did it for you, but you choose.
Amen.
You choose the work. You choose what he gave to you. He separated himself from God for me, for you. What is that? That's what Good Friday is to me. It's up to each and every one of us to grab hold of it. But once you grab hold of his last week on his walk to glory, Easter shines so much brighter after Good Friday.